Namaste and welcome to our 17th and last session of the course. As has been our practice, we devote first few minutes on informal meditation where we use Gayatri Mantra as the vehicle. We will recite it a couple of times and then imagine as if we are in the lap of that cosmic mother. Om Bhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. So, you may now gradually open our eyes. This is our last final review of what we have discussed in this course in the previous 16 sessions, where we have covered about half of, from number point of view. Patanjali has total 195 statements. We have covered almost about half of them, but quite significant part where the practical applications are relevant. Let me devote one slide on meditation related various terms you might come across in literature and in discussion. Dhyan, this is a technical term used by Patanjali. Its English translation is meditation, but there is a slight danger because this term is used in Indian language as day-to-day usage, where we typically mean paying attention to an object or concentrating on something. But here it is a technical term where it actually means mind is void of any function or fluctuation. So mind is blank and empty. That is the state of meditation. That is an essential prerequisite. If my mind is not blank, then I am connected to my mind. So if I want to connect to that cosmic consciousness of Ishwar, infinite soul, then the necessary condition is that I make my mind blank. I am in dhyan. Now I can disconnect from my mind and connect to her. So this is a very basic prerequisite to be with her. There is another term used in our literature called sandhya or sandhya vandanam. This term is derived from the word dhyan with a prefix sam. Sam meaning samyakarthe, meaning properly done. So this will, sandhya will mean well performed meditation. Usually sandhya, the proper meditation is preceded by recitation of some mantras. Just like we did a while ago, we recited a particular mantra and then wanted, our attempt was to be in the lap of that cosmic mother. So the mantra recitation is not dhyan, is not sandhya, it is merely a vehicle. It motivates my mind to calm down, and the meaning is so that my mind understands that it should calm down, become blank, so that the presiding entity, the master of the system, namely my soul, can connect to that cosmic soul. So this is a tuning of my mind with a statement which has a meaning so that my mind understands, because the job description of my mind is to improve quality of my life. And once my mind knows that I am beginning to enjoy the exercise of meditation, then my mind will facilitate it. So when I recite Gayatri Mantra or any such words, I am basically tuning my mind that look, if I can disconnect from you and walk into my cave, I will meet another source of pleasure, and that is what he is always interested in. So this is important, that recitation of mantra is not sandhya, whereas after that, my being with that cosmic mother is actually the objective of sandhya. Then we have another word called upasana. This is a compound word made out of up and asan. Up is again a prefix. Asan is to be seated, and up is nearby. So this is literally meaning I am seated with her, that cosmic mother, father, whatever you call that Ishwar as. So upasana is being with her, which of course, as we have seen, dhyan, meditation is an essential prerequisite to that. Now there is a term sandhyopasana. This is a compound word made out of sandhya and upasana. Here the objective of sandhya is made very clear, that objective of sandhya is to have calm mind, well performed meditation, so that I can be with her. So sandhya and upasana, they have been brought together, and there is a word like sandhyopasana. Then there is a word samadhi, which is Patanjali's technical term, a step beyond dhyan. Dhyan was blank mind, and now I am with her. And it is not that I am just with her, some sort of interaction may be taking place. So samadhi is I am with her, but not that I am purely with her. You know, one is like a child is hugging his mother and they are lost into each other. Another, that is at a higher level of samadhi. Look at a in between stages, the child hugs his mother and mother gives him something or just gives him a touch or gives him a candy or some such thing. So some sort of interaction between two of them. So that will be samadhi. Samadhi is I am with her, but there is some interaction is taking place. So like we have seen some Prajnat Samadhi where we get a flash of knowledge in our chitta, in our mind state, or some feeling, certain things like that. So that all will go in the overall category of samadhi. Then there is a word yoga, which is now very popular word and also quite misunderstood. But in Patanjali's terminology, because it is his word, he is the first who has used the word yoga. So it is a technical word, and he defines yoga as yogas chittavritti niyodha, second statement of his start of the book, which is essentially literal meaning is subdued mind where nothing is happening. So yoga by Patanjali is mind void of any function, and that is what something is the meaning of dhyan and sandhya, etc. But again, the term yoga is a common word in Indian languages. Not that yoga classes are taking place. In otherwise, also in Indian languages, the word yoga is there like 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Then in Hindi, we will say, दो और तीन का योग फल 5 है. Yog phal is when 2 and 3 are brought together, then what is the resultant of it? So yog word, the word meaning in typical Indian languages is they are united together, then what is happening? So the word meaning is union. So again, somebody could ask if yoga is union, why did Patanjali use the word yoga for just subduing the mind? Then again, he is emphasizing that My teaching, his teaching, is I can teach you how to subdue your mind. I cannot guarantee then that mother will take you in her lap. That is at her pleasure. So that is why the objective of his book is to calm down mind. But nobody in the world can say once you have blank mind, that cosmic mother will take you in her lap. That is at her pleasure. So that is where the Patanjali Yoga ends. Subduing all that happens on my chit, on my mind scale. So these are all related terms. I would just like you to know as much as possible. Lastly, there is a word, Brahm Yajna, that is used in synonym for Sandhya, and the background is again it is a compound word, Brahm and Yajna. Brahm is another name for that cosmic entity. Ishwar and Brahm are basically the same, not going into those philosophy aspects. Yaj is a word derived from the root yaj, which has the meaning like Panini lists it in Dhatu part, Dev Puja Sangati Karan Daneshu. So Dev is an entity who gives goodness, like the sun is Devta, and that Ishwa is also Devta, mother is also Dev, who gives everything to her child, father. So there are all kinds of entities called as Dev who give and give only, don't expect anything in return. So when we puja means glorification or saying something about positive attributes of Dev, Sangati Gayan is to be union with that Dev. Daneshu is again giving it back to that. Like Vayu, the air is a Dev, but when I do a Havan like thing, I put in some herbal substance. My objective is to purify the air. So, I have polluted air tremendously. So, sometimes I want to think, sit and make an attempt to clean the air. So, then I am giving something to the Vayu Devta. So, Dev Puja, Dev Sangati, Dev Daneshu, they will all come under the activity of Yajna. So, when I want to be in union with that Dev, Ishwar, that also is a valid term for Yajna. So that becomes Brahm Yajna. I am in union with Brahm. So I just thought I will discuss with you what are the terms you are going to see if you study and discuss this type of literature. I also want to say there are hundreds of books on Patanjali Yoga. I have seen about, say, 15 or 20 of them, not quite studied them, but have seen them. And I must say, I don't like any book. And then I thought, why don't I find them good? And what I have noticed is, why is it difficult to do justice to Patanjali? There are a number of books. The person is expert on what is called Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga is what people do in the name of yoga classes nowadays, body postures, breathing exercise, etc. Hatha Yoga and Patanjali Yoga are two different things. They have two different objectives. Hatha Yoga is for betterment of your health, while yoga is to be united with that. That is a spiritual thing. These are not same thing. But Hatha Yoga is nowadays prevalent as yoga. So what is happening? Of course, there is awareness. Now there are a lot of people who are expert in Hatha Yoga, but they think that is what is yoga, and they think Patanjali Yoga is also yoga. So they write a book on Patanjali Yoga. So they are not doing justice to it because that is not quite their subject, but still that is what is happening. So I will say about 30 to 40% books are to be discarded because the author doesn't is an expert on Hatha Yoga but doesn't know what yoga is. Now there are a lot of people, they have good knowledge of Sanskrit language, and of course Patanjali's book is on Sanskrit, so they try to translate and interpret it. That also doesn't work out Because I will say, for just give you an example, if I am very good in English language, and suppose that I pick up a book by Einstein on theory of relativity, and that is in English, do you think I can do justice to theory of relativity translation? Unless I know the subject, merely knowing the language is not going to help you in interpreting the author's original ideas. So, if you want to quite understand Patanjali, of course, it is one necessary asset to know the Sanskrit language, but that itself is not enough. So, a lot of books are just mere translation, they don't know the concepts, etc. And Patanjali Yoga is slightly unusual because it is science, like any discipline of science, has a theoretical basis, but one has to grasp it by experiential learning, doing some experiments also. So this Patanjali book requires theoretical basis as well as somebody has to experientially go through it, then to have a understanding of all these concepts. So if you are not in yoga practices and you just think you can interpret Patanjali's book, that also doesn't work out. Then also, Patanjali's book is a philosophical book. It is one of the 6 books of Vedic philosophy. So if you don't know the entire philosophy of Patanjali Yoga, you cannot do justice to it. That also is a valid requirement for you to interpret Patanjali's yoga. Then also that is not enough because Patanjali's book is one of the 6 books of Vedic philosophy, what is called Shaddarshanam. Of course, his main focus is on Upasana. He is guiding us to be united with that cosmic entity, but he does touch upon various other limbs of Vedic philosophy like law of karma and many other things are there. Why does he call him Ishwar and not Brahm? There are a lot of other philosophical issues which you will not know it unless you are familiar with entire big picture of Vedic philosophy. Only then you are able to do justice, and that is why there is hardly any good book on Patanjali Yoga. And I have pointed out, not as to criticize others, but because they were not fluent in Patanjali Yoga, they are making all kinds of mistakes. Some examples I have pointed out in this course, like Yoga Nidya is not a valid term, which is used by yoga teachers, who are actually talking Hatha Yoga, but they use it very loosely. So I have tried to show you when there are 5 modifications to mind, which are, Smriti, Nidya, and Vikalp, Vipaya, and so on. Paman, Vipaya, Vikalp, Nidya, and Smriti. So Nidya is one of the modification of mind, and Yoga is your word of modification. So either you are in Yoga or you are in Nidya. Yoga Nidya cannot be a valid term, but people use all these funny things. Also, I have tried to show you Patanjali Yoga is development after Sankhya by Kapil. So if you don't know the basic concepts of Sankhya, you cannot understand what Patanjali is talking. And there is very simple, basic statement of Kapil in Sankhya. What is Ahankar? And again, the tragedy is because the Ahankar is a term used in day-to-day Indian languages for ego. So people have translated Sankhya term of Ahankar as ego. It is such a horrible thing to do, but you will not believe me if I say 995 out of 1000 books on Sankhya have done this mischief. So that is the state of affair today. It's not easy to get the true correct knowledge. So they have translated Ahankar as ego, and how can they understand Sankhya? How can they understand Patanjali? I have no understanding. Then this has become a ball game in Indian history last 2000 years. that people try to say that there are many paths of yoga, and they fancy it with different names: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, so many things. And then they try to say Patanjali Yoga is also one of them. There are many others. But one who doesn't understand yoga will talk like this: yoga is only one, what Patanjali is talking, that is Patanjali Yoga. To succeed in yoga, you have to do karma, you have to gain knowledge, jnana, you have to practice meditation, dhyan, you have to gain Ishwar Pranidhan, that love with that Ishwar, that bhakti. All these ingredients are required, then only you succeed in yoga. But one of them cannot bring yoga. So that has also been a very tragic thing. All this has been happening in last 2000 years of India, which has been a very static period and very bad time. Anyway, let's move on. There are many other instances I am not listing here, several more inaccuracies and deficiencies. So believe me, true knowledge is not easily available. I just saw a book in our library, sounded very funny to me, but it's not that funny. It makes you feel very bad. There is a book by one Swami. Just want to point out what kind of things they have in their mind. This is very first statement of Patanjali, Yoga Chittavritti Nirodha. That's where the whole book starts from. And look at him. He is translating the term. Sorry, this color is not coming out well if you can read it. But he is translating the technical term chitta as consciousness. What I have translated always as mind skin, I give a, we spend quite some time that I am the thumb in the fist, and this layer, that is my desktop, that is what is called chitta, and that is my mind screen. I am always watching it. But this person is translating the word chitta as consciousness. Consciousness is attribute of me, my soul. This is not a thing, this is an attribute. But chit is a thing, as an object, which is mind screen, my mirror on which I am watching. And this fellow is translating chit as consciousness. You can just imagine, and he writes a big book on it. He is himself confused and he is going to confuse everybody. So what is happening in the world is merely diffusion of confusion. So let's see what is the cause of confusion. Why is he confused? Because there are two similar words. One is called chitta, which is my instrument. The mind is screen. That is what Patanjali is referring to. And there is another word which sounds similar, but it's called chit, isn't it? And that chit is not new to you. If you remember, in the early part of this course, instead of Gayatri mantra, we took a smaller mantra as Om Satchidananda. And I used to list these three terms. This is a compound word, as it is very common in Sanskrit. All words come together and become a longish word. So this is a bit longish word made out of three terms: Sat, Chit, and Anand. This word Chit is consciousness. Now this author is confused between Chit and Chitta. And somebody has to stop him from writing books. But in such a difficult situation, I will say I got hold of one very good book. This was a very good book. I liked it, and I must acknowledge my benefit to this book. This is its title page. Unfortunately, the author's name is not given in the book cover. I would like to show you. It is in Hindi, but I benefited a lot from this book. This title is Patanjali Yoga Pradeep, published by Geeta Press, Gorakhpur. This is a well-known publisher in India. It's a very good book. If you are fluent in Hindi and have time and can afford, it's about 500, 600 pages. It's a very good book, but it's a very difficult book for a layperson to it because it's philosophical terms. Unfortunately, the author's name is not there, so I go back to show you his picture just as a paying respect to him. I don't think he would be in this world because the first edition of the book came in 1941. So I know he must have passed away by now. But a very good author. I think he had a very good understanding of what is the subject of Patanjali Yoga. But so that's about this particular book. I benefited. But even he, I will say, he also slipped out at one major point, which I don't understand how did it happen with him. He should have noticed it, but I haven't seen any book that, and I'm quite proud of myself in the sense I am able to figure out Patanjali's structure, why the big picture, why is he writing the book the way he wrote. And this is something I have shown you many, many times. Yoga, first chapter, is for a chitta without klesh. Klesh is ignorance. Then in second chapter, he goes on to Kriya Yoga for a chitta with klesh. In chapter 2, part A of that, I think I've discussed it quite a few times. But even this gentleman, whose book I just showed you, Swami Omananda Tirth, a very learned person, but he also missed out this point, unfortunately. And Ashtanga Yoga is for a chitta with klesh. Now that klesh has resulted into ashuddhi, impurities of mind, so that even his moral fabric is not that positive now. So this is the Patanjali's structure, and that the reason I think why he also slipped out on this important aspect. Okay, this is a slide. I think I should, again, if I go to the term Yoga Nidra, if you remember, Yoga is a state of mind when I am void of any modifications. And these were 5 modifications: Praman, Vipaya, Vikalp, Nidra, and Smriti. So Nidra is on this side, and if I am void of all that, then I am on Yoga. So obviously, there cannot be either you are in Nidra or you are in Yoga. Yoga Nidra cannot be together. But I want to show you the statement 1.5, where these authors, and also in case some of you are reading a lot on this book on the Patanjali Yoga, I don't read that much, but and find a book which clearly spells out the structure the way I am saying here, and please let me know. Now I'm trying to give you an reason why probably people have missed out. This is 1.7. He is listing merely what are the 5 vrittis, 5 modifications. Let's go a step back. 1.5 is Vittaya Panchataya Klishta Klishta. I usually avoid showing you Sanskrit words as it is, but I showed you the meaning here. Modifications are 5 kinds for a mind, skin, whether with ignorance or without ignorance. This was translation of this is the original Sanskrit statement. Again, here the last, this is again 2 terms have come together, klishta and aklishta. So this is where this gentleman also missed out. What he did not notice is that now the next statement, which is 1.6, this is Patanjali's classical style, it is called Anuvitti. Now the next statement, 1.6, is listing 5 types of modifications. They are of this type, aklishta, and not of klishta type. That, if it is missed out, then you cannot figure out what is happening in this book. And the reason I say this forcefully is, if the following 5 vrittis were klisht, then Patanjali would have defined the term klesh. He has postponed the discussion on klesh until the 2nd chapter. That means the following 5 vrittis are aklisht. Now he's talking about a chit where there is no klesh. And that is where people have missed out. that this term is relevant. This is being followed, what is called anuvitti, though they don't say it, Rishi doesn't say it, but it is understood that next statement is pertaining to this and not about this. If it was about this, he would have described what is clash. Anyway, let's move on. Don't want to go in too much of indications. I also want to pay my respect to, because I benefited a lot from scattered writings of Maharishi Dayanand. He didn't live full life because he was poisoned. He never got to the point to write a book on Patanjali Yoga, but in many other writings he has put certain ideas on Patanjali Yoga, which I found very, very useful. And he's the founder of Arya Samaj, 1825 to 1883. Want to share with you because now you have gone through this Patanjali meditation 101 comprehensive with Yoga Sutras and as much as I could have devoted to. I want to devote 2 slides on what is Vedic philosophy in capsule form, very gist of it, so that you have a more complete picture what we are doing all this. So the story starts with I am a composite of body, mind, and soul, which most of the meditation practitioners are able to come to the point yes, I am a calm mind, blank mind, but still I am aware of something. That deep awareness is my consciousness, my me, and that is what I am, and that is what me, my soul is. So you kind of become confident that yes, I am not just body and mind, but body, mind, and soul. So that is what is starting point. We could discuss a lot about soul, etc., but this is not the right time to do that. Now we'll say, in a course of a day, about 24 hours, if you look back, you go through all sorts of experiences, and we will say they are generally the mix of 3 primary situations, 3 primary experiences of joy, pain, and dormancy. So look at it as a 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and then you mix them and you get all kinds of infinite colors. So something like that, just to give you an analogy. So any other state of ours is a mix of these. Sometimes joy is more, pain is less, and I'm half asleep. All sorts of situations arise, but they can be obtained by 70% of that, 20% of that, 10%. You create all kinds of mix and you will get all kinds of feelings we have at a given moment. And in life, we are just moving from one to another. And now the statement is none of this state is my inherent attribute. So somebody could say, I am in a joyful state, but since it is, you are not always in joyful state, the attribute of joy is not your inherent attribute. That is the Rishi's argument. So what he's saying is joy, pain, and dormancy, which is actually coming out of Kapil's word of sattva, rajas, and tamas, they are attribute of my chitta and not mine. So depending on what is happening here, I begin to feel that is happening to me. But it is happening to the chitta, and I take it as if it is what I am going through it. So they indicate fluctuations of mind, which is made of matter. So now there is a very Rishi's statement is that matter has the matter, which are the gross object we are seeing here. They are all made of basic particles of matter, and they have 3 possible stands, namely sattva, rajas, and tamas. That is what gives rise to joy, pain, and dormancy, or what Patanjali has used, prakash kriya sthiti shilam bhutendriyatmakam bhogapvargatam drishyam. That was his statement. Prakash. So he is referring to chitta. It has He's not saying joy, pain, and dormancy. He's using three other terms. Illumination, when it gives you knowledge, this is in the illumination mode. When you decide to do something, so incoming knowledge and outgoing action, when you want to make an effort and do something, this is in activity mode. And when you are very tired, you are feeling sleepy, this is in the inertia mode, sthiti shila. So these are different words meaning the same thing. So, but essence of all this is, yes, our life experiences goes through many things, but they are not my attribute. They are attribute of my chitta, and that is the property of matter. So that's how philosophy develops one after another. Let's move on further. So all life experiences. Now, Kapil, this is Kapil's statement. Samadhi Sushupti Moksheshu Brahmyukta. So what he's saying, yes, we would like to improve our quality of life. We would like to be more in the state of joy and not in pain and all these things. Everybody knows it. I want to get away from pain and want to go where there is some sort of pleasures of life. So Kapil is pointing out what is the most unique experience which everybody finds positive. Funny answer is, but that is the only answer. If you look back, if all of us sit together, tick mark, what is the experience that we all enjoy, you will realize the end of the story will be, it is deep sleep. Deep sleep is the only experience which entire humanity will raise their hands, yes, I enjoy it. All other life experience lack universality. So this is where they zero on what is really the absolute pleasure. If we are only after pleasures, let us first agree upon what is absolutely pleasant. So they find out sound sleep is the only state when, of course, I am out of the world, there is total blackout, I have no awareness, but it is so fantastic. Even when I come out of it, I say, that was very good. What was that? I am no more in that state, but that was very good. So that is what sound sleep is. But they have noticed the peculiar aspect of sound sleep is I am disconnect from my mind, isn't it? So when I am in sound sleep, no dreams, nothing is happening. My world is absolutely blank. Because my chit is blank, there is total blackout, but I feel so good. So now Patanjali says, Patanjali meditation is attempt to create the same state but in a conscious mode. So what we are all learning here is to meditate, to bring our mind calm, blank, so that I can disconnect. So I create a replica of sound sleep but in conscious mode. Because the basis is that the sound sleep is the only experience which all of us found positive. But in so doing, I am empowered by knowing that absolute happiness is within me. It is not. Now, funny thing happens when I am deep in meditation. Yes, I begin to enjoy. I begin to enjoy those moments, but then I realize that enjoyment, that pleasure, which is very good, which is probably absolute pleasure, we call it as ananda. So ananda is an unusual word in our philosophy which doesn't have negative counterpart. Like sukh has dukh, shanti has ashanti, anand doesn't have negative counterpart. It is a philosophical term, Satchidananda. That is what was his attribute. He is always in Anand. So when I go into my cave, disconnected from my mind, I feel absolute happiness. So that is the attribute. If that was my attribute, I would always be in Anand, but it is not so. So now that's where it comes that in my cave, besides me, there is another entity, that is Ishwar, who has the attribute of Anand. When I am united with her, then I get a taste of it. So I enjoy being in her lap. That is, she is the supreme mother, father, teacher, friend, whatever you look at it. So Another important, interesting thing is happening. As I attempt to do so, my mind is transformed and purified. I become a natural being. So, what Patanjali is saying, when you are united with her, of course, you get a feeling, you taste that drop of Anand, that's good, and that will be very motivating, will life changing, and all that. That is very nice. But when you are disconnected from your mind, she is washing your mind as well as servicing your mind. So the character of your mind is getting through a change. So that is what is overall Patanjali's philosophy and Vedic philosophy, which I thought now you will be able to understand. So Patanjali Yoga is not only this, it also validates certain spiritual principles. So as I said, Patanjali Yoga validates I am a tiny spirit in the huge body, different from my mind. That is what I said. I am body, mind, and soul. So when you are disconnect from your mind, you get to know experientially who you are. Then I get to know there exists a source of absolute pleasure within me, and that is what is Ishwar, that infinite soul, and I can connect to it in real time. So spirituality is basically my tiny soul, that infinite soul, and my ability to connect to her. And in so doing, I improve health of my body and mind and quality of my life. I think we have covered. Okay, next few minutes we can devote to what we do formal meditation based on Ashtanga Yoga, doing the 5 steps of Ashtanga Yoga, realizing that Yam and Niyam, the first two are leading the way of life, lifestyle, and my attempt is to disconnect from mind, and the last samadhi is to be with her. So we have a metaphor. I want to disconnect from my personal secretary, namely my mind, and be in my cave for a while. And now we know it. In my cave, I will not be alone. I will be with my cosmic mother. So let's devote. We have our body postures. I'll go into my moderator room. Shake away your stiffness from the neck region, shoulder, and back, etc., so that you feel void of stiffness and everything fine. We devote 3 cycles of deep breathing. Deep breathe out, hold the breath out, deep breathe in, hold the breath within, breathe out, hold the breath out, breathe in, hold it within, breathe out, hold the breath out, breathe in, hold it within, Now we are going to move to the third step of instructing our mind, our personal secretary, with that code word. After reciting the code word, we focus our mind between the two eyebrows, insisting our secretary gets settled down there, and just stay put. And once we are disconnected, we walk into the cave, which is in the sky that we can see in our forehead. If our secretary knocks at the door and attempts to send in a thought wave, we remind him with the code word again, don't disturb me. Let's recite it 5 times together. Om. Om. So we can gradually open our eyes. This was a shorter session of meditation. I have a one slide more, and then we can hear. Yeah, this has been our bottom line always, that this is a talk and walk. So I again want to say, as we conclude the course, please carry on with your daily meditation practice. As we have said, the word was Sandhya. Sandhya word comes also from Sandhivela, confluence of day and night. Of course, I have always insisted at least once a day, but classically this is a practice twice a day, early morning as well as early in the evening. So whatever is right, I leave it to you. I know for some young professionals with small children, it's just not possible. You are rushing in morning as well as in evening. Children want to be with you, so on and so forth. So then you can consider bedtime. Just before bedtime, before you go to sleep, you can sit for meditation. Either way, informal meditation, which we do at the start of the session, that corresponds to Kriya Yoga, and the formal meditation, which we do towards the end of the session, based on Ashtanga Yoga, that corresponds to Ashtanga Yoga. So I leave it to you. You decide, you do the what you are comfortable with. One more, yes. This is our concluding session. We end it here. And what will be the sessions from January? Just want to list them here. So I have changed it. I should have done it. It is Thursday. I had to change it because Monday I have somewhere else in the downtown. So this will be 21st January, Thursday 8 to 9 here. And as usual, you can come here or attend in the webinar mode. So that will be Patanjali Meditation 101, Patanjali Meditation for beginners. And later in the year, in the fall term, Patanjali Meditation 102 based on Patanjali Yoga Sutras. So you are now fully aware of that the current course was mix of both. But now it will be in a more relaxed manner, Patanjali Meditation 101 for beginners, where you learn Ashtanga Yoga and its practices and ensure that you get to the blank mind, and where Patanjali Meditation 102 is discussion on Yoga Sutra. Now here, first 6 sessions will form the basic module, Patanjali Meditation 100. So the entire course will be 16 weeks, but if somebody doesn't want to commit, but want to learn basics of meditation, even 6 sessions are good enough. So that way he is confident at home he can practice meditation, unless he wants to know philosophy and many other details. So he can do that. There is just for $25. It's quite economical. I'm just saying, last night I got an email that somebody wants to organize my 6 sessions in downtown and they are charging $120. So, of course, nobody wants to make money here, but we do charge some money so as to ensure you have some commitment. Of course, if somebody is difficult to pay, they can write to us, then we can consider other options also. Anyway, if this is for $60, after having done 6 sessions, if somebody wants to continue, then you pay $40 more and continue. Along with this, I will do from Wednesday evening, 1 hour. This is just free spiritual talk, drop in nature. This is not a structured course. So, when one Wednesday you want to join, you can come And if you miss out, no problem. You don't have to catch up with the backlogs, etc. And again, this is, you can come here as well as attend it via webinar. This is, I will call it blissful wisdom, one evening spiritual hour, so to say. So we can stay connected, and I hope to see you in January 2016. Thank you all for joining me for this course. Bye.